And for the past, I'm also a longtime entrepreneur, but for the last 10 years, I've spent going to conventions and signing autographs for
Can I
my own.
ask, only because I haven't done any research on you specifically, what
Sure.
for what?
Mainly animation and video games.
Cool.
So the titles that I would be in are like Super Smash Brothers,
Cool.
games
Any
like that,
research on you?
and whatnot. And so for that, I just have a lot of experience, and I just found that experience of interacting with fans and then signing autographs and whatnot. That whole thing just I found so compelling,
Yeah.
and the experience that I got from it with the ins and outs of everything. And when COVID hit, I had developed a live streaming platform over there. And when COVID hit, that obviously turned the world upside down. So I did is I pivoted and I started when COVID hit.
Cool.
And
So
yeah,
cool.
it's been really wonderful, really
Pivoting.
wonderful.
Oh, wow. So Oh, we're live? Okay, awesome. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to an really exciting HELLUVA Boss Q&A session with a bunch of the amazing cast of the show. I am incredibly excited and also incredibly nervous, and this is going to be awesome. So we have most of the cast here, especially the main cast. So I would love to take this opportunity to let everybody introduce themselves and just go down the list and talk about, you know, how this incredibly like unique and whirlwind of a year of the show has been for everybody, and kind of get a chance to talk about that. So I guess we will go in order of the boxes on the screen for me. So let's start off with Alex.
Hello. Hi, everybody. First of all, Viv, you're doing a great job so far. Don't be nervous.
Okay. Anything live.
It's fantastic. Hello, I'm Alex Breitman. I play Fizz, Robo Fizz, and also I believe I play one guy in a sort of a theme park hood at one point that goes like, "Are you okay?" So if you look out for that. But for the most part, it's Fizz. I'm really genuinely excited to be a part of this. I'm a fan of the show. I got asked to do this in quarantine, recorded it in quarantine, and then got to see it in quarantine, which is like a sentence I hope nobody ever has to say ever again after this, but it was wild. It was crazy. I had so much fun. I got to play a voice that I played for the last 5 years, sort of play it up in something new and in a different kind of way. And I'm really thankful that I got to do it. It's been wacky. It's been weird. We've lost some friends, but we've gained some new ones. And so I hope that, I hope people enjoy. I am enjoying the show very much. I can't wait to see what's next, like you guys. I know for a fact that I'm on more, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, that's it. That's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and I'm so excited for what's to come for
me
your
too.
Character, and it's going to be very
singing,
awesome.
More singing.
Yes, more saying yes. The show, we definitely go way more leaned into musical. Like fun fact about the show, like I intended for this one originally to not be the musical. I was like, this one's not going to be a musical, and then inevitably it became one. So, and it can't not. Next up, we have Christina. Hello.
Hi, I'm Christina Valenzuela. I'm going by that name now. I'm the voice of Verasica Mayday. And I like to thank you, Viv, because now when people search my name on Google, it's not just Christina V Ladybug, it's Christina V Bonetown. And it was really cool. I'm used to playing such sweet, innocent, child-friendly roles, and this was really different and fun.
So it's very decidedly not friendly, kid friendly. It's awesome. Well, it's been wonderful to have you. You're an amazing singer, and it was such a great performance. So happy to have you, and so excited for people to see more. Up next, we have Brandon. Hello.
Ooh, I'm your next box.
The next box.
I'm a hell of a box. We got involved. Was it 2 years? How long ago now was it?
Oh God, I guess it was the year before the quarantine that I've been meaning to first met.
I remember we were out and about. We went to Lancers, and we went there because it was all old people that eat there. And we liked it because no one bothered us, and we were allowed to be like weird and crazy. And we knew that, like, okay, no one's gonna give a shit about spoilers here because they're all probably gonna be dead by the time the pilot airs. And but wanting to ask you a question, Vivian, what did you think of when we sat down for coffee the first time and you pitched me I remember the designs for the different characters and for Blitz. What did you think of the show? Did you know the show was going to be this then? Because I certainly did not think. I had no idea what we were sitting on.
No. So for those who don't know, me and Brandon, we met. Yeah, I've lost all track of time and years at this point, because this year is basically just an anomaly that just time stood still in. But we met at a Starbucks, and like I kind of rough pitched all these different ideas that I thought that Brandon's style of humor and comedy.
Yeah, there was a few different shows, wasn't there? HELLUVA was just, and
was
I
just
remember,
one of them.
but HELLUVA Boss was the one.
About.
Same. That was the only. I was like, oh yeah, because the other characters looked amazing in the other shows, just as cool as the HELLUVA. But then I don't know, something about it. Assassins that have the the life of an office, and the normal daily struggle. I was like, oh, and then they go to Earth, and then they take out just all the assholes we want to write into the into our
yeah, it's fun coming up with like different targets. Yeah, we like that was kind of the first, and I wanted that one. Like that was the one, like of all the ones I presented, that was the one I wanted to do. But in typical like kind of over prepared fashion for me, like I have a lot of ideas, so I kind of always bring like a couple to almost like give a variety and give like a choice. I've just noticed that's something I do a lot. So so I had like a couple other like adult comedy, like raunchy kind of monster filled concepts. But we ended up landing on that one, and we wrote the pilot together. And then we would go to this little diner in Burbank called Lancers to write every time. And yeah, it was just like always like the sleepiest little like.
And we ordered weird
old
shit.
People.
We ordered the same thing every time. I
always get the same.
I had your thing memorized for the longest time. I forgot what it was, but it was something like pickles and Dr. Pepper or something like that. No, did I get
it was I would get like just like eggs and chicken tenders because I'm just basic and boring, and avocado on the side.
Avocado, not pickles. It was avocado.
Eating avocado
sliced on this,
like as a side at this like sleepy little diner.
And we would go there so often. They knew us. They would just be like, "Here's your avocados," and I just got sausage in a bowl.
Yes, you did. You always just got the sausage on.
Yeah, and we just had the same thing and we would just talk about different ways that cartoon characters could die, and why all the different ways we'd justify. Okay, well, this character deserves to die because he wants to die. He did this person, and we'd have these philosophical.
Wasn't that one of the shows you pitched? Sausage in a bowl.
Sausage in a bowl was.
Now it should be like cheese. Hot sauce, because is this going to be the first stream that you don't eat cheese during?
Oh, I was eating cheese before we went on.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Every single stream we've done so far, there's just the cheese has been broken out, and it just starts eating cheese midstream.
I got it out of the way first. Yeah.
Good. But no, it's been a whirlwind of like of everything, because to answer your question, I had no idea that the show would be as big a hit as it was. This one and my other show were just so.
It would be.
No, like I kind of go in with the mentality to everything I make of, this is something that I feel like I would have loved to see when I was younger. Like I make everything like kind of for my younger self. Like I was super into these really like grisly kind of violent, like I was a big fan of Jonan and Johnny and the Homicidal Maniac and Zim and things like that, and Batman the animated series, and just all these other very darker themed, like one of my favorite animated movies is Roger Rabbit, which is like this film noir, kind of not quite kids but like not quite super adult either, but like everything I make kind of feels in that world. And there isn't a whole lot of adult animated comedy out there that kind of goes into the places that I would like it to. We're starting to see more of it, but even when we see it, it's still in this very stiff kind of palatable style, and the style that I have is a lot more cartoony. So I've been really trying to like enter that world in this very cartoony, graphic kind of way. But yeah, I didn't expect it to be as big a hit as it is. I'm honored and happy and thrilled that it is, because the show itself is made possible by the audience. So we really need to be making something people enjoy, so I'm thankful that people are liking kind of where our show is going. And I'm super excited for the rest of the season to kind of show where we finally landed as far as tone and story, because definitely like, the future of the show is going in that direction that I think people have already kind of seized into, of like, oh, I liked that one. I liked that, like, oh, there's story here. It's not just a raunchy comedy. There's like a story and there's a heart. So I'm super excited for that. it's been an honor to work with you, Brandon.
Oh,
And
it's been such an honor to work with you, Vivian, and to see just something go from just a concept over coffee to a full-blown Bryce number with the planets and stars. And I remember when it was over the coffee table, we were just talking, and then he'll sing a lullaby, and Vivian was like, "Trust me, it's gonna get really cinematic. You'll see." And like that was like it. I didn't know. Like, okay, he's in space and he's singing a song, and then
now look at him. Now look at him.
I thought, yeah. So it's been an equal pleasure to work with you as well, Vivian Medrano.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And that's a great segue over to Bryce. Hello.
Hi. Hello. Yeah, my name is Bryce. Obviously, I play Stolas, and gosh, I guess I found out about this like Alex soon after all the Broadway work was shut down, and I think this show is the only job that I've had in a year, and my family and I just feel like the luckiest because we were having our second baby right before I recorded season 1 and before I sang that song. And so I felt like I was renewed in my fatherhood card had been stamped yet again right before recording that song and in fact the entire season, and that just felt like a synchronicity that I couldn't ignore. And I think you guys reached out to me on social media, and I was like, oh, cool, what's this? And here we are doing a Q&A about it nearly a year later. And for theater actors like Alex and myself, this has been a strange time to try and figure out how to continue to do what we love and what we know how to do, and you guys and Viv, you especially, have certainly given us opened a door for us that wasn't around prior to that. So I'm grateful that that the show has as much of a sort of musical element to it. And
are we allowed to swear on this?
Yes.
Because I really was holding in a fucking A for Bryce. Fucking A, Bryce.
Don't hold in any fucking A's for me,
I didn't know.
Alex.
I wasn't sure.
You're totally, no, I find myself doing it like almost without knowing.
Right.
So
Okay.
no,
All
it's
right. Just wanted to know.
absolutely
Sorry,
fine.
continue, Bryce. Sorry.
No, that's it. That's the end of my introduction, and I'm just I'm very grateful to be involved and to see the outpouring of support for the show. And I had someone write in today who said, I lost my dad, and that song has really been a comfort to me. And I've seen comments, from a lot of young people about different characters and how they attach to, certain things that they identify in their own life, something in the story. So I think the world you guys created at that diner, with those avocados and sausage in a bowl, it's really reached out and touched people, which is a testament to why it's so popular. And I think why me, along with everybody else, is why I'm so excited to see what's next.
Thank you. No, I'm so honored to have you. Your performance of that song especially was one of my I remember hearing the demo of the song and being like, oh my gosh, this is we're gonna create such a big moment for this song. And when we cast you, it was so exciting for me because I always have kind of a base for my characters when I'm kind of formulating them, especially with their singing and stuff. It's kind of finding these visual references. And one of the songs I would listen to a lot was from your performance in A Gentleman's Guide. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool to see, I was bumping casting. I was like, hey, this would be really amazing to see if he's open to auditioning. And I was honored when you did. And so it was really, it's been a great experience having you part of things. And I'm just so honored and happy that the show can be there for you and for everyone. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of Broadway and musical theater. I have a lot of friends in that world, and just in general, I went to school at SVA, so I was right in the heart of the city, and I would see every show I could, like while living there, for those 4 years. And then so it's been really heartbreaking to see, you know, how the pandemic has hit everything. And so I've been trying to make it more of a focus to bring people in from that world, because like what's nice about our show being so indie is that we really can be very flexible and very like, you know, we can give jobs where like, you know, maybe it's trickier to find them other places. So I'm super excited to be able to give back in any way that I can with this show. And I know the audience is very passionate, and I'm sure the audience is like me, and they're full of theater kids. So everyone's been having a fun time, like enjoying like how musical the show is ending up. So it's been amazing to see for me, and I'm very happy that it's been a good experience. All right, and Erica.
Hello, my name is Erica Lindbeck, and I voice Luna in HELLUVA Boss. I have been a part of this since the get-go, I believe, since we did the pilot in 2019. I think it was. We lost a whole year there. I was like, it must have been last year. No, it definitely wasn't last year. Sometimes a project just comes and kind of sideswipes you. And as I've said on the record many times, I thought it was a furry fighting game when I got the audition. I did. I saw her art. It was like 3 or 4 lines. I just was like, what is this? I did the audition at my friend's house. Cause I was like, oh man, like I was between sessions or something. And I just ran in the booth and did it. And I truly was my primal, just core self when I read for Luna. I find her one of the easiest characters I've ever played. So I'm having an amazing time, and I feel so lucky to be a part of this. So thank you, Vivian, for having me. And the support from the fans has been absolutely insane. I mean, I can't even count the ways. So thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it was, I remember the pilot was such a unique like world for me, because this was the first project that I've done with SAG, and it was just so like, it was so new, like everything felt like it was on another level, and I was like kind of thrown into a world I was super new to. And so the whole cast of the pilot, like just everybody who wanted to take a chance on this very indie production it was so thrilling to me. And that one we actually got to have everybody in the room together, which was also kind of amazing. And I really wish we could record like that. But that was like one of the coolest experiences of my life, was getting to be in an actual like studio and like have people behind glass and be like, oh my gosh, like they can hear us behind, like, the little intercoms. Like I was so new to everything.
You were great. Also, on my end, I took classes from Richard, 4 or 5 years ago. And so to share a booth with him was really fun. To do scene work with him, it's not somewhere I ever thought I would be.
Like, I literally blush. Am I blushing? I'm so red right now. I really do.
You look like Moxie.
Oh my God, I've turned into Moxie.
That was a wonderful experience, and I thank you so much for being part of it. And I'm so glad that Luna has kind of taken the world by storm.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. But yes, so thank you so much for being part of it. And then Richard, how you doing?
Oh, hi, Vivian. Am I in the right meeting? Is this where I'm supposed to be right now?
This is an intervention, Richard.
This is an intervention. Oh, no.
Everyone get your letters out.
Yes, please. I just want to make amends to all of you right now. So this is an interesting story. A friend of mine that was a former student of mine, he contacted me and said, there's these young people that are doing a show and they need a chaperone that's very old, that doesn't understand anything about the interwebs. That's me.
Vivian! Did you say that?
No, I was terrified. That I remember, I have a very like why not approach to things. Like that's just how I've always been, of like, let's try. Like what's the worst that can happen? Someone says no. So that was how it was with Brandon, and that's how it was with you, because when I was formulating the show, like this concept that I was pitching to Brandon, you were always the voice in mind for Moxie's character. And I was like, and I'm friends with Maxwell Adams, and you know, he obviously has worked with you for many, many a year. So a long time ago, way, way back in even the before LA times for me, like it was right after I graduated, he actually gave me your agent's like contact, and I was working on what did unfortunately kind of go under, this big musical project with some of the friends that I had in the Broadway world and just everything. But I was extra new, like if I was new going into the pilot, I was like, even before that new of like, I have no idea how to even like make a thing. And I kind of unfortunately fell in with a studio that ended up scamming me out of money. They claimed to be a production company and they weren't. And it was a big whole thing.
Sorry, I can't help it.
No, but no, they're long gone, I'm sure. But you know, there was this big animated musical that I was developing, and it was going to be something I was going to reach out to you for, and it went under because of that.
Musical theater. You knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did know that. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like this will be so cool. I'll have like it says this will be my big project after graduating. And it went under, but it really was kind of a perfect blessing in disguise, because that is why I turned to making Has Been Hotel, which was my first series that I ended up making.
And
because I
gave me a thank you on that. So I really told you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was like my big foray into this world of indie animation. And that show became the big musical that I had wanted the other one to be. So it was very like, it was I think it was the right thing to do, because it's my favorite project I've ever made as far as like its scale and its narrative and everything. And HELLUVA kind of was birthed from the energy that created, because I feel like Has Been was this project that I made as a, you know, figuring myself out, literally figuring myself out. And then HELLUVA came in as something of somebody who's already kind of figured things out. And so to me, I feel like it's this really strong, like very, really, like I have grown so much as I feel a writer and a director and everything through HELLUVA.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
it's been really special to have you involved with that, because you were one of the people that I was trying to work with for so long.
Again, look, I blush so easily.
Since we're outing Richard, I have to say, Richard was my voice mentor.
Look, I'm blushing again. Look at
And I still, everything he taught me, like when I was a fresh baby, I still use to this day. So
I did your demo. I think I did your demo, right? Yeah.
Both my demos.
Yeah. Because I was going to say that I play Verosika, and I don't think if anyone was going to believe it.
Hot.
So one of the main reasons, one of the biggest reasons, is because I started out in musical theater. Like I was 13, I was an equity member, and I'll never forget this. I was 13 years old, and my first equity production, it was like it listed singer dancer. I'm like, yeah, it was just a fancy way of saying I was in the chorus, but I did Oliver. I did Oliver, and I did it with Stubby K and Dick Shawn. This is like before many people remember Stubby, but Stubby played the original Nicely Nicely in the movie with Frank Sinatra and Guys in the
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he was Mary and Sam and Little Abner, the movie and everything. So my whole life, and that was in LA in a theater called, what's now the Nickelodeon Theater, but then it was called the Aquarius Theater. And Zoot Suit had just closed its initial run, if that gives you any idea how old this guy is. And I was in Oliver with Shani Wallace, who played Nancy in the original 1968 Oscar-winning movie. So she was reprising the role. And so I was like, oh my God, this is how I'm going to spend my life. I'm going to do musical theater for the rest of my life. I'm going to move out of LA. I'm going to move to New York. And I had agents that were like, oh, no, wait, you're not going to New York to do theater. You're in LA and we're making money on TV and commercials and stuff. So you're going to stay here. I'm like, oh, okay. But then I can eventually go, yeah. Then I started doing movies, a lot of teen movies in the 80s. I never got to New York. And so the most I ever got to do was to sing in in the animated shows that I did. But when Vivian and I got together and she told me there's going to be these musical numbers, I'm like, oh my God, yes, I want to be part of this. Maxwell Adams, who created Billy and Mandy, also said, oh yeah, Vivian is so talented. And so it was a no-brainer for me. And then Brandon, it was funny because I had seen Brandon on this thing called, what was it?
Pornhub.
Pornhub. Pornhub.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. That was it. And I walked into the studio and I saw Brandon. It was one of those things like I knew him, but I go, but how do I know him? Because we both at the same point went, oh, hi. Do you remember that, Brandon?
Yeah, I do.
Hi. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, how do I know him? How do I know him? And Vivian says, well, he's like a huge YouTube sensation. You got to look him up, especially the Disneyland one, which cracks me up to this day.
So I didn't recognize you until you were Moxie. And I heard, and I heard 3 voice. I was like, Alpha, Billy, and Zim. Oh my God. And I'm standing right next to.
Yeah, you went, oh, yeah.
Oh my God. And I had no idea because I'm so removed from the world of anime. At the time I voice act. That was my first day ever voice acting. And so I had major imposter syndrome. And then I heard who you were 3 times, and then that just solidified it. I was like, oh, they don't know.
Because anyone that knows me, I believe that everyone can do voiceover and play pretend, because that's all we do is we play pretend, and you're really good at playing pretend.
No, you're really good at directing. You're really good at.
You are.
I feel like for anyone who watching doesn't know, Richard is our vocal director. He's the one who helps curate our deliveries to be as funny or musical or magical or sad or however emotional they need to be. And I feel so like I have a confidence in voice acting now because of you, and obviously you, Viv.
I'm blushing again.
But seriously, like to have one of the best in the biz tell you like, oh, that's, and to like see you laugh when I'll try.
Oh my God, yeah.
And you let me experiment, and then you'll tell like the person working in the booth if it's a new person, yeah, he likes to improvise. It's really funny. Just let him do his thing. I'm like, oh
yeah,
Richard,
it's true.
It hits me like an arrow.
I'm a believer in that because every creator, Vivian included, that I've gotten to work with, be it Jonan or Maxwell Adams or Mitch Shower on the Angry Beavers, they understand people like all of us that like to have the freedom to express. And luckily, we're in a time where there's this thing that I've been told about. It's called digital. You guys are digital. So we can edit so easy now.
Right.
Because back when I started, everything was like tape. And so it's like, you blew that take, now we're gonna have to edit it. And it's like, so okay, mark that. And it's like, okay, but I don't believe in playing that way, because why would we ever want to like hinder someone's creative outlet, especially if it's coming from the story? And so it's a joy. It's easy to direct every single one of you, which is fun. And Vivian is in on the direction too. So she and I always agree or disagree or say, no, let's do this. But Vivian's really great about it, because I may like a take and Vivian goes, I think I like that take. And I'm fine with that, because Vivian sees this thing and she's really like, I teach the imagination. That's what I teach about, the art of playing pretend. And so Vivian sees this world, and so do you, Brandon, and so do all of you, but you guys see the world as you're playing. And that's what makes shows really click. Even in dialogue that I wrote, even for my own character, you'll still teach me the bait and switch in a line I didn't even intend it. Like, try it like this, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, wow, like you said it better than I thought it when we were right. So it's cool, and it helps me in my work. Now whenever I act, I think about some of the times that we've played with lines and changed the inflection so many different ways, and you find new things in it when you do that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And now I'm blushing too much. So let's go on to Vivian. Vivian.
Yes. Damn it. I was just thinking, I was like, now I got to talk after all these people. Now I
Oh, what a thrill.
Hi, I'm Vivian Nixon. I play Millie, and I'm super excited to be here and to see and meet everybody. I've worked with Richard and Viv because we've been in the booth, but I remember watching the first episode of the season and hearing Stolas, and I was like, oh shit, that's Bryce. Because I was in New York and all my dear friends were on Broadway in Ghost. And that's how that was my first introduction to him. It's a badass cast. It's so much fun. And I remember auditioning for Millie, and I booked a cherub role. And I came in and I recorded the cherub. And then a day later, my agent called me and they were like, we actually want you to play Millie. And so I went in, and I remember I had told my fiance, I was like, man, it was so much fun. Like, I was in with the creator, and Richard Horvitz is amazing. He just keeps your spirits so high, and he's just like always hyping you up, the best director. And then I was like, shit, I get to play opposite him. This is amazing. So
I have to go. I'm too shy now.
So it's just it's super cool. I'm so happy to meet all of you guys finally. You're so sexy with that cat between your breasts, Christina.
Oh!
I'm happy to be here. You're having me.
He left a scratch mark.
Oh, my cats do that too. None of them scratch, but they always just scratch up my arm. Like I have all these.
Oh my God! When we were doing the first episode of season 1, Vivian's cat was this big. I'm not kidding.
Oh yeah.
In the palm of your hand, she would put the cat on her shoulder.
Yeah, he would just be there.
And now that cat is like giant. I think it's a panther, right?
Yeah. No, I have a little cat named Nugget, and I got him I got him during the quarantine. And he was just like a little kitten, and now he's so big that like he'll lay just right the hole here, and he'll just come and interrupt. Like I actually have all my cats like out of the room because every time I'm in a Zoom call, they chase each other around, and they'll chase each other onto my desk. So it'll just be like the scramble, and I always like yell in surprise, and I'm like, whatever meeting I'm in, like I'll be having a meeting with like a big studio, and I'm telling them about me, and then my cats cause this huge frantic mess behind me, and I get genuinely startled, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, like I didn't mean my cats. But yeah, that's happened a few times with Nugget, especially because he gets really rambunctious, and I'm just like, cat, like, but yeah, he used to be so tiny that he just kind of.
I love that
kind of chill.
That coffee commercial where they're doing Zoom meetings and the kid is trying to get in the mother's camera, and she just keeps going like that. That's what it's like.
Yeah. But Vivian, your performance as Millie is so unique. Like I think that that happened because it took us a little bit longer to like decide on like I try to, when it comes to like main characters, especially, I try to like really like listen to everybody and like close my eyes and like imagine the character and everything. And yours was just always the most like, I was just like, yeah, like that. It's so much fun. And I think it was like, because the cherubs were also characters I was trying to figure out. And I was like, well, maybe that energy would be perfect for this cherub character because like, it's just so fun and bubbly. But then like, kind of ruminating on it more, I was like, no, I think I want that to be Millie. Like I want that to be the main character. And funny enough, I ended up just taking on that cherub role as as kind of a money saver. Additionally, because we'd already recorded you. So I was like, well, I don't want it to be the same performance back at, because that would be a little like too like, we'd notice like that it's the same kind of energy for both characters. So I was like, well, I'm probably could pull off this annoying bitchy cherub. So I did Keeney, and then I also did the one at the end.
Do it.
Which is really funny to me.
Do it.
Oh, the like
it's
no, like that one. Because I do that with the crew. So like me and the crew of the show, because we've always been a freelance studio. So we've never been an in-house studio ever. So even before the quarantine, but that kind of made it easier in the sense that our production of the show didn't change at all when everything closed down. So we do a lot of we do a lot of calls, and like in the calls I will do that sometimes. Like I'll literally just go, like someone will say something weird, or you know, like something weird will happen, or we'll find a weird like fan art or whatever topic of conversation, and I'm just like, yeah, no, that's no. And so it kind of became like an inside joke, and then I was like, well, I really think that would be funny to do in the show. So, and the crew all wanted me to, so it was really a fun kind of
it's the
addition.
art, it's the character design of the cute dough.
Yeah.
No, it's like the profile. Yeah, no.
They also
so Disney-esque, right? Like a little Bambi.
Very Bambi-ish.
Very
I love it.
yeah. I loved it too, because I also do the cashier who has one line in episode 1, and that's literally what the whole crew calls me. They're like, oh, it's the cashier from HELLUVA whenever I come into like the chat or anything. So I'm
that's
like,
very that's
that's
disrespectful, and I think we should talk about that. That's disrespectful.
No, I love it. No, the funniest part about our production too is like, I think the crew has learned that you can bully me. Like, it's totally fine. I love it. It's so fun. Especially since my best friend, who's the background lead, she bullies me openly, and she's like, I don't understand how anyone can take them seriously. And I'm like, I love it. It keeps me grounded.
It would be so great right now if you just started crying.
Yeah, no, I'm holding in tears right now. No, I genuinely, I love my crew, and I think it's because I love that, you know, the atmosphere of the show, and the atmosphere I have with all my projects is to kind of not take it too seriously. Like, the show gets into serious territory, especially emotionally, but I really like the ability to kind of laugh at ourselves. Like, I love laughing at myself, and I think part of what I do when I create something is I know it's for me. Like, I know it's not for everybody. I know it's very catered to my sensibilities, my tastes, and there's just a self-awareness in that that I've tried to maintain with the shows that I make, as just like hey, I know that this is my immature sense of humor. I know that this is, you know, my sensibility as far as character design, because every so often there'll be people that are like, oh, you know, the characters, like, I think my favorite is someone accused one of my characters in Has Been of being like a DeviantArt OC, and I was like, yep. I've had him since I was in high school. That's what he is. Yeah, sure. Like, it's not an insult to me. So, like, you know, that's just kind of the attitude I have when I create something. It's just it's good to laugh at yourself in like a loving way. So that's kind of what my crew has adapted to, because they've noticed that I do it. So it's like, oh, okay, it's okay. So my label is now cashier from HELLUVA. That is how I'm creating.
Actually, I would like to say, I remember very specifically walking in to do the pilot, not really knowing. I as I've said, and I'll say again, I didn't know what manner of media it was until I walked in to actually do it. I for some reason didn't get the script in advance. I remember that. Like, it was just, I had no idea. I didn't know it was going to be a prelay like show. And you guys were so laid back and so chill, and you created such a nice atmosphere. It was just a really lovely experience, because sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes there's, I don't want to say like an air of pretension, but it just makes you nervous sometimes when you walk in to work on certain things. And you guys just kept it very chill, despite the like massive level of talent that was already in the booth working when I walked in. So yeah.
I think also, just to say this, I think there's a difference between taking something seriously and not taking yourself seriously, and you can do both. And I think that's what you do really. That's what everyone in the show I think does really well, but especially Viv, that's what you've done, and I think Richard too, and Brandon, like, that's what it feels like. The show is taken very seriously for you, for all of us and you guys, but you don't take yourself seriously, and that those two aren't mutually exclusive, I think. So that's super nice to see in the show. I think it comes through.
Exactly. Yeah, you hit it exactly, because I and the crew as well, we take the show incredibly seriously.
Yeah.
Like, we care about the story we're telling. We care about the characters. You know, for me, I live with them every day. I plan very far ahead so that I can almost like feed in, you know, some of these emotional beats and everything. And we know where the story goes and we know where it ends, and that is what informs it. And we care about that getting across. That said, it's still a raunchy comedy with like these kind of improbable things, and the characters are goofy and they're very like, you know, they're not really nice people all the time. So there's all these things to kind of like keep us grounded of like, yeah, but it's still a cartoon that's got like these goofy characters at the end of the day. So you just, you know, we have a nice, like, you know, like I like to let the crew really have fun with everything. And that goes for the cast as well. Like if you guys come up with a line that's different from what I wrote or what we wrote, like I'm more than happy to run with it. Usually that ends up being the funnier stuff, and the more like unique is like the spin that you guys as the cast will give in the booth. So it's always really exciting.
I'm so excited too. It's weird because everyone only knows 4 episodes of this thing, and yet like my favorite stuff isn't even out yet. And I just like the first time you told me, okay, this is how it's going to end, and this is what happens to all of the characters. Well, especially Mike. It's so cool knowing that everything has a great ending, and so now everything we do now isn't just aimless, and it's like everything goes toward a direction, and it feels very much like a complete, purposeful story. Like every part none of it's wasted, story-wise. But yeah, it's I can't wait for people to see. Just even like the episodes that are almost done I've been watching on repeat. They have so much rewatchability to them, and there's just animatics still, and so I'm so stoked to see it finish. Yeah.
I'm very excited for what's.
I'm like excited and nervous at the same time. It's like stage fright kind of, because you're like, oh my gosh, there's going to be comments on everything. What are they going to think about this? What if I wasn't funny here? And what if this joke didn't, and you have all these, but then you're also very excited because, you know, they're probably going to like it. And so it's like, you're just like, well.
You guys must get so much feedback. Like, how much of that feedback do you feel like influences your next steps or your next, or are you constantly like, I'll look at it all when I'm done, and I know the thing in here that I'm trying to bring out? Or are you actually like, whose feedback do you trust when you're creating something as massive as this?
It's really a bunch of things. What's cool about the show is the way we release it and the way our production goes. There is a lot of feedback. You know, we get feedback after every episode, and you know, while we're getting that feedback, we're literally in production of the next one down the line. And a lot of the feedback that I pay attention to is just, you know, like little things of like, oh, what do people pick up on? How much can we let slide in production, and how much are we like, okay, this is going to be zeroed in on, so we got to get it right. Like sometimes it's even as simple as the backgrounds. It's like, you know, oh, we'll drop these little Easter eggs into the backgrounds, but it's like, I don't know, how many Easter eggs should we put in the backgrounds? People probably won't notice it, right? And then we see, oh, they're noticing all of this. So we got to be mindful. Like we can't just let a background slide. We have to like, or if we want to put something into the background, we can, because we know that someone will pick it up. And as far as like characters and stuff, like what's been nice for me is seeing, especially with the 4 out we have, because I think the 4 out are the perfect groundwork for what comes in the second half of the season and then onward. And it's been cool to me because each episode kind of has a different tone in a way. Like each one has kind of a different agenda, and it's been interesting seeing which ones resonate with the audience in different ways. And it's always really fun to see, like, just, you know, like what did people narrow in on and what are people still talking about? And it makes me happy when that's something I know that we do lean into in the show coming up. So I'm like, oh, okay, people really liked that emotional scene. Well, they're going to get more of that. So I'm excited, right. You know, like, or people really liked the comedy in this scene. Well, okay, good, because we got a thing coming up in the future, but it also kind of is a good thing to keep in mind moving forward so that we can kind of know what doesn't work, what does work. And it's kind of what's unique to this show, because a lot of studios will just produce an entire season at once before getting any feedback. And then the way we do it is a lot more like ongoing, and we can get the direct feedback from the audience kind of as we go. And that doesn't, I'm very staunch. I kind of have the principle of like not changing the story if people catch it. Like even if people catch it early, it's like, well, that means that we did a good job laying the foundation. You know, it doesn't always mean that it's obvious. It just means people are paying enough attention to the characters to kind of know where their arc might be going. But I'm very stringent on not changing the narrative or the story or the characters based on audience feedback.
Regardless of if people guess the ending or not, it's the beats that take us to that point that are it's what the heart of the show. Like all the parts where people, you know, the characters get hurt or go through different situations that make them, you know, the growth. And so it's like, the ending's great, but like everything they go through to get there is really, and like that stuff. That's
the best parts of a roller coaster is not the time you're waiting to get off. It's the times during. It's like, you know, that's the hopefully you've enjoyed the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. You know, that one of my least favorite things in the world is when something ends and they go, they didn't stick the landing. It's like, were you here the whole time though? Yes. Right. Okay, then you liked it. You know, like that's
not a lot of shit.
Yeah, exactly. There's many landings to stick. What you said I thought was cool actually, because it kind of blends like animation and theater, what you're doing, because feedback is a huge part of what we do. Like we are on stage every night telling the same story. That never changes, right? We have to tell the same thing in the same way, in the same places, because otherwise we get killed by sets and stuff. But we also get feedback every night about what's working and what's not working. And do we trust this audience? Is that, did this joke work because of this or whatever? But I think it's kind of cool that like, that's how this is beated out, because I do think it probably makes for a better show in that way. Because I think it's interesting, just keeping your ears open, but being stringent to the sort of the track you're on. It's cool.
And it feels like previews as well. Like when we're in previews, you know, our shows sometimes change in previews based on a joke that's not working tonight, or like, oh, really sensing that people are liking this. Maybe we should write another scene or a song even for that character. Yeah. It seems like you guys are, because of your independence, are able to not necessarily change, but adjust in real time, like to track what your audience is into.
Yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely, yeah. That
theater approved.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think it's really cool that the way we operate is more. It's probably closer to theater than it is to traditional television, which is really exciting to me. But that is with the way it is, with the way the show is it's so unconventional, because you know, like the audience that we have and the viewership and the support rivals some of the, like, you know, big animated things in the world, but it's still entirely run and entirely crafted from the audience support. Like the audience is directly supporting the show, and we kind of have to make a product that is for them, you know, like at the end of the day. And it's for us, but it's also like when what the audience likes is not ignored at all by us and even by me, because in a lot of ways I'm a huge fan of the show as well. Like I think about these characters all the time. I'm excited, like I'm giddily excited to see the certain things animated that like the board artists do. Like some of what the board artists have been doing for more of the recent stuff is mind blowing. And like, I'll see that and I'll go, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see that. Like, I can't wait to see that realized. And it's surreal to be like the head of the ship feeling that way. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm geeking out. So that's kind of where I feel like the show is in a unique position, is that like, we are fans of the show making the show for the fans of the show. And it's kind of this big circle of support. And it's kind of insane to me that we're in this position in the first place, that a show can be run and sufficient based on the support directly from the audience that's consuming it. It's a very honoring like position to be in. And so I feel a pressure. There is a pressure that comes with it of like, okay, I do need to make sure that what we're making, you know, people enjoy, and it's what they feel like, you know, they're getting out of the show. But that's why I pay attention to like what episodes resonate and what things in what episodes resonate. And I am really excited that we do go more in that direction. Like Brandon definitely knows, because Brandon knows a lot of kind of like what is formulating on this adventure. But we definitely lean into the things that I think the audience really wants to see from these characters, which is just more depth and more story and more stakes that come with everything. So
it's funny. A lot of the comments that I've read that were like, "Oh, I wish there was more of this," or "I wish there was." It's cool because most of the things are like, it's like, oh, they'll, like you were saying before, it's like they'll like wait till they see this. Wait till it's there's a lot of fan service coming up that wasn't even fan service. These were things that we've written before, long before the first episode came out. So it's cool. It's like, yeah, we are fans of the show. I'm a big fan of the show, and so we also want the things that the fans want for it. We're all in the same boat. No one's trying to steer these characters to move up to Earth and start milking cows for a few seasons.
Just become
or maybe they've like, I don't know, a spin-off.
They just become
I love a milker.
But I have a few fun questions for all of you guys from folks. This is a fun one for everybody to just kind of go through. Is how do you step into the character you play? Is there any kind of routine that you kind of do in the booth, especially for the singing and everything and some of the character voices? It's like, how are you able to just go into it, or is there any kind of preparation or like mental preparation for going into the characters? I guess it's kind of tricky because there's only been one season so far, but I guess how you kind of went at the performance.
Well, I'll go.
I guess I didn't. You can start, Brandon. Start with you.
I have to ask, am I the first person of the day? I always have the same call time every time. And I'm pretty sure it's just early enough to where I'm like, I might not be the first one in, but I'm pretty sure I'm the first.
No, you're not always the first person of the day, but because you have all the lines, we need to block out a huge chunk of time for you.
Right.
It's very early morning every time.
What I started doing for, am I allowed to say how far we are? I don't know if we are episodes in the future at this point. I won't say how many we've recorded, but
1 million.
1 million.
Oh no,
and
it's there.
the first.
They go to space.
Yeah, they go. Oh, hell of an astronaut.
That was a joke.
That was a joke. No, and now there's going to be space porn with the demons and. No, I now, the last few times I've gone into the studio, I've gone for a run. I sprint around the block for a good solid 10 or 15 minutes. And then, because I usually run anyway in the morning, but I figured I'll just move my workout to literally right before I go in. So the COVID compliance people, they check me and I'm covered in sweat. I look diseased and shit. And but it gets me in a character because I get in there and I don't feel quite like I'm a dud at the top of the day. I get in there and I'm already at like a 10. And then I just run into it. So that's my.
I will say this is hilarious because the last time I recorded, my freeway exit was closed and I was like 4 minutes late. I was like 4 minutes late, which wasn't a huge deal, but I do not like being late. And I literally had been screaming in my car, screaming, cursing. I was like, and I walked in and I was like, well, I'm ready for Luna. Let's do this. Not that I'm not always ready for Luna, but I remember there was, it's my point being, it's pretty easy for me to get into Luna. I feel as Erica, I feel a lot of things really, really hard. So I feel like if I did not do this kind of job, I might become a serial killer.
Yeah, so
it's like therapy. It's like therapy for me to get those emotions out.
So now I see all the new fan art. There's going to be Luna screaming in a car, Luna in space, and Luna as a serial killer.
I was legit. I was like, wow, I wish we had a mic in this car because the screaming that I did on the way to that session. And then I remember this. This all happened in the last session. I was doing a line and then I asked Vivian a question, but Vivian didn't realize that I was talking to her because it just all sounded like Luna. It was, I said something and I went, is that the way it's supposed to be said, Viv? And she was like, what? I'm sorry. Did you say something? There's no character voice. It's just me.
I think also half the issue is that we're directing and recording via Zoom.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's like there's always like a 2-second delay where like I'll step on like a take or Viv will step on a take because you know, you still go, but you had stopped and there was a beat, and it happens to all of you. I think we've stepped on all of you during the thing, but it's just because of Zoom. It's not because we don't think you're brilliant.
I support you killing as many people as you want, Erica. I think you'd be the best one since Eileen.
You'd be incredibly marketable.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Give a great interview.
I've only recorded once, been to one session, but I just wanted to make people feel the way that Kath Soucie made me feel when she played Lola Bunny in the 90s. And so...
Oh my...
That's great.
That is a perfect way of putting it.
That was my character inspiration. Except I got to say things that Lola would never say, like choke on a sandpaper cock.
Yeah.
Vivian, was that your line? Who wrote that one?
That one was mine. Yeah, I was proud.
I forgot that I said that. So when I watched the episode, I was like, ooh.
Oh.
I just want to thank all the religious people who have sent me private DMs telling me my soul is going to hell.
Yeah.
And sending me, they continue to send me sermons. So thank you for that.
Sermons.
He reads all of them.
Wait, I won't
read them all.
I won't talk too much about it, but we did, as a crew, collectively, we found this one video of this kid just going off on the show, just like everything's the same, you know. Oh, the show has like same-sex couples, like that's a sin, and all these horrible like backwards things, and I'm like, this kid, but he was so funny because you could tell that he was a fan of the show, because when you go to the video, it was like a stream, it'd be already like half watched, and it was like obvious, and then like it was your scene, Christina, that he like starts he's just like, I'm just gonna let this filth play out. It speaks for itself. And then just plays the whole scene of Verosika. And he's just like this in the camera, like just staring. And he's just, awful. Like as soon as it's over. And we're just like sitting there going, kid, is there something you want to say?
I just want to say the tingly
there's been some
feeling,
funny religious, like he was super Christian, he was like super religious.
The tingly feeling that I have in my crotch is a sin.
But
now
it's so funny too, because you know, like it, like the show isn't meant to be any kind of like, you know, anything bad against anyone in that regard. It's funny when that's the reaction of like, this is a show about hell, and there's a reaction like that, like, oh, you're gonna go to hell for saying these things and for doing these things, and I'm just like, yeah, is it really?
I mean, you have shows about vampires, shows about witches, you know, demons are just another franchise of lore. I don't see it as any type of, it never takes a stance on any biblical, it's just like, these are demons. If anything, the shit they go through is more relatable than a lot of shows. They just happen to be in hell and they happen to kill people.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
That was kind of the mentality with writing the show, is that like, I think that the fun contrast of the show and its world and just the real world is that the problems we're writing for these characters are incredibly human, but the world they exist in is so not that that's like the fun to play with, as far as like with us writing, is like we get to like play with this world that's governed by like the sins and by like all these different kind of fantastical beasts and fantastical like entities, but then the problems they're dealing with are like divorce and depression and loneliness and connection, human connection to employees.
I know for a fact that Dante got a lot of nasty emails when he put out the Inferno, and so
people were not happy with him.
Dante was canceled.
Dante was
so good, but that's so funny, Richard. You hadn't told me, so I had to chime in with some of the things that I've been seeing.
All in my inbox.
I get emails too of like,
I've gotten some nasty.
You making this terrible, and like
people have wished horrible things upon me. I had a friend.
Well,
I had a friend that used to write like these letters, and he would go, you mother effing cock sucking blah 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 blah. How dare you blah blah blah. Yours in Christ, love, Mom.
I want to point out that it was mother effing and then cock sucking.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, because he already said sandpaper.
Where's the line, Richard? Where's the line?
There's several accusations happening there.
Yeah, well, we're not going to go into Bryce and his ability to swear like a banshee.
I haven't heard the uncensored version.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I blacked out that whole time. It's just you brought it out of me, Richard. You brought
me.
You coached that out of me.
That was one of the best things because how I go at the big Stolas like rambles is that we recorded you just going off for I think like a minute or two, like full.
And we were so nervous to ask him to do it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Because we're like, we don't want you to
sorry.
feel like you have to do. Oh no problem.
And yeah, we were like, you can make up anything. Like, it doesn't even have to be dirty because I will bleep it so that it sounds like you said dirty things, but you can put anything there. But then you just kind of went off and actually made it really dirty. And it was hilarious to go through. And then like pick the funniest like little bits to add the little bleeps to. That's always so much fun to do like on my end because I'm just like, oh, this was just a day. I was just laughing the whole time. It was so fun.
I think when I recorded, I as I mentioned before, like we just had a baby, so I was like very sleep deprived. And I think for me, like unlike Brandon running around the block, like I think that's actually good for me to come in sort of like my critic is asleep, my critic is still asleep, and to just you guys, once I could tell that you had sort of set up the atmosphere of like anything goes, we want you to just feel free to create anything. That's my favorite time to just let rip, and because I know that you're not going to keep everything, so why not just generate as much as possible? And that was I seem to remember that being intense.
That was fun.
I hope the internet never gets a hold of that.
No, yeah. It was super fun. It was great. Here's another good question, and we'll start with Vivian. What is your favorite line from the show? And if it's from something else, like if that hasn't shown up, I guess what's your favorite scene so far?
Oh my God, that's funny because I feel like I've been so sleep deprived too. I don't remember anything. I was actually,
that's valid too.
I was pregnant when I booked the show, and when I came in and just recorded with you guys, I now have a 3-month-old and a 2-year-old. The Lululand episode is one of my favorites for sure so far. So much fun just playing, and Millie's excitability there just is it was wonderful to play.
She's super, she's like happy the whole episode. She throws her head through a window, doesn't she?
Oh my God. Nothing gets her down.
Yeah, right? That's what she does. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. It's fun. Like I never knew that killing was such a happy thing to do, and it is.
So fun. Yeah, that episode it's definitely special to me. I think that episode is the one that I wrote that it hit the most home because it kind of was inspired by real life for me. But it's also just something that like I was really excited to write an episode of show that got into the more emotional territory and writing the characters in this very like we didn't have to worry about a target for that episode, which was kind of nice. Like it's I can speak for this a little bit, and then Brandon, I'm sure I don't know if you're the same way, but like coming up with the targets for them is kind of one of the harder things for me because like I do feel bad if we're going after someone who sort of doesn't deserve it. So I'm like, oh, who deserves to die? It's a weird
it's
question
not that,
to ask even in a cartoon.
It is. It
How do we
presents
make
a
this guy
philosophical debate every time we pick a target, it's like, well, you don't want them killing someone that like the audience is going to feel sad that they're dead. So it's like, you kind of have to create, so how is this one a piece of shit? And sometimes they're not a piece of shit. And so it's like, how do we save their life? Or how do we, I think you just have, every target's a different approach in a different situation. And it's hard to think because whoever you're picking for the target decides the entire episode, decides the setting, decides the pacing, the vibe of it, you know? So it's, really like the target characters or whoever's hosting, I like hosting that episode, whoever's like the main other one, you know, walk on role determines the whole, you know, tone of it sometimes. So it's hard.
Yeah, I personally like have an easier time and a little bit more fun on my end, just personally, with the episodes that take place in hell, because I really like this world and I really like figuring out how like to make it work. Like I really like figuring out how the society in this realm works and how it you know, how their day-to-day is. And I think a lot of the heart of the show comes from that kind of setting because it's about the characters and their relationships with each other. And they all are from that location. So it's, you know, like the backstories are all centered there. The more emotional bits are all centered there. So I have a little bit of an easier time. And Lululand was the first like set in hell episode, and so I kind of went loose with it. I was like, yes, I get to really focus on the characters and like how this world works and what this weird theme park is, and kind of dropping these lore hints with characters like Robo Fizz and Blitz's backstory, which like will come back later. Like it's all, that was the most fun for me because I got to like drop all these kind of more interesting like lore kind of elements.
I wonder what happens. I think Alex, you're our characters. I think they've known each other from a previous time. I don't know what happened there, but
we'll have to find out.
I'm on pins and needles, Viv.
Viv, I'm also on those same pins and needles. We're laying on the same bed.
Yeah, same bed.
And I'm watching.
She's watching. Richard's got the camera.
Yeah.
Bryce is in the harness.
Yeah, Bryce is suspended above on thin wire. Yeah. No, I'm excited about that for sure.
In the midst of all the hatred and killing and all these things, the fact that love is such a strong theme between Millie and Moxie is so cool. You know? Yeah,
that's a good point. I didn't think. Well, I think actually the show centers as a whole more like at the end of the day, it centers more around love than hate.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough,
like they don't exist without the other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the moment, I think it's the episode with Luna and Tex is out. Yes, the third episode,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah.
Sorry. My brain. Erica. I thought it was really interesting because we had not. I promise you, because I remember recording this. The moment where Luna gets really nervous when she tries to go up and talk to Tex is the first time that she is literally ever vulnerable. And it was weird if coming out of my face because she sounds different. Like it's just a completely different side of her that we hadn't seen yet. And I remember it really took me for a ride. And I think one of the cool things about Luna is that juxtaposition, like, cause she's so guarded all the time that when she does get vulnerable, it's really jarring. It was jarring for me just doing it. It was like, okay, well now she's kind of weird and doesn't know what to do. And she feels weird. And, you know, I had to pull out like my socially awkward Erica Lindbeck card and like kind of go for it. But yeah, I think those moments are really exciting. And I know Viv has publicly said there's a lot of Luna angst. So that's happening and I'm really excited about it.
Luna's grown on me a lot. I feel a connection to her similar to Blitz because she's such a Vivian created character. Like I really didn't write any of Luna's parts in the first, but then as the episodes progressed, I started writing for Luna and she started growing on me. And then I felt like she was like an adopted daughter. I was like, oh, I now like this character.
Yeah. I love Blitz and Luna's relationship. I do too. So great. I love her relationship with everyone. I love her relationship with Moxie. I love her relationship with Millie, like everybody.
She keeps calling me fat.
I know. I think I love God. She's just ooh.
I mean, she likes Tex, and Tex is a big guy, so she might be complimenting you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you never know. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited for everybody to see like where all of that is going and how much it's going to be explored in the future.
Yeah, it's cool. I feel like in the episodes to come, people will be satisfied knowing like, oh, that wasn't just a one-off thing. This from that episode, like everything kind of has, it's like there for a reason, even if it seems asinine at first. Yeah. But.
I like my alter ego now, which is Drunk Moxie. I love a human called me a possum. I am not a possum. I like that one. I love the relationship, obviously, between Millie and Moxie as their clothes are flying off and Moxie's shooting and they're tongue kissing that whole episode. It's cracking me up. But I like real little subtle things, like after like Brandon or Blitz does his plan in episode this. Was it one where he's got? Then we're it was spring break. It was spring break. Yeah. And it's like, all right, any questions? And Mox says, yeah. Why does that make no sense? Why does that make no sense? And I like little moments like in Lululand where don't talk to me. I know you're a pervert. Don't talk.
Oh, that is one of the best. That's one of my favorite lines.
Under there. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines too.
And Richard, did you know that that Adam Maxwell is the mascot that goes? Yeah,
I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
He's Lulu.
It makes sense.
It's so good. It's so funny.
And I love when Millie and Moxie are talking to me. You want one of those things? Yeah.
Oh, that was
like,
you.
Oh, I want a thing. You want a thing? Yeah, I want a thing. You heard the little lady? She wants a thing.
Yeah.
So, one of my favorites is the thing. That's my thing. That's all I got. I gotta go. I'm just kidding.
You were signing at 3, right? I just had to change my time.
I think that most of the people that are going to watch our signing are watching us right now. So Vivian and I are going to tell you that we probably won't be signing till probably 8 p.m. tonight. No.
I covered my bases. My bases are very covered. I'm signing at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I will be signing from midnight to the break of dawn.
Late night.
Late night, but I'm ready for it. Got coffee. I have other things.
We will. Here's what I will promise. I will promise everyone that's watching that's going to see our live streams. If I don't sign your thing on the thing, because there's a lot of them, thank you to everyone. I definitely will give you a shout out. I'll do my best to shout out to everyone that I can, so that you know that I do see what you've ordered. So
I will top that, but I will personally send $500 if I don't say your name out loud to you. Just have to send me the address.
And I'll actually, if you want, I will come and murder you.
Yeah.
How
fun. Who wants to be the first? You could say you were the first, or you couldn't say it, I guess.
You could say it. I was the first.
I was the first.
Do Alex and Bryce, do you guys have a favorite line that you want to share, or a moment in the show that you've had the most fun with so far?
My favorite line of the entire Hell of a Boss of all time was just said, which is, I know there's a pervert under there, which is funny enough, and then having the pervert go, yeah. Outstanding. That's my favorite line. I think my favorite line was being able to utilize something I do with my voice that I did on stage every night that you took to and liked, and just tried to do something mildly different but in the same vein and sing a song. I've only known the voice that I do as Beetlejuice as the thing I did 8 times a week, the same exact show all the time. So to put it on other stuff was really fun, but also really challenging, because it's muscle memory to do just the 2.5-hour show I knew that was on the track. So to put it on other lines and sort of squeeze it a little more, so it is a bit higher pitched, a little bit something that was adjacent, obviously, because it's what you guys wanted, but similar but different. And it was a wild to try to make the jump to another character.
What is the strain like when you do that? I just have to ask because
It's
it
not
sounds...
a strain. It's something I learned over the course of a year. It's something that some biologically is very boring. It's that I'm vibrating the folds, the cartilage in my throat. It's the corniculate cartilage. That's in there, of course.
You just described my wedding vows.
Yeah.
That was great.
But it's sort of the way I put it to people that ask because I do a ton of Q&As about Beetlejuice, and I get the question every time is that it's that my vocal cords are vibrating just like anybody's, but I'm vibrating independently, vibrating the cartilage that sits sort of above the vocal cord. So it's like an Instagram filter is how I say it. So this is my voice. and then when I put it on, it sort of sounds like this, and it has this kind of thing to it. So I can speak like this for the next 24 hours, and it would actually be better for me because I could speak like this, but also I could turn it on and off whenever I want to. So it's that kind of thing I had to learn over the course of a year.
That's so cool.
And because the cartilage has no nerve endings, the ENT and the vocal pathologist that I went to, because I had to do this live 8 times a week for 2.5 hours. And with singing and all that, we scoped 2 times a month just to make sure. But also we figured out over the course of however long we did it, which is around 5 years of development and the show, it didn't matter if I beat them up because they don't really get hurt because it's just cartilage. So I could do this as much as I want. And this is just always going to be a thing.
That is like when I did Invader Zim. I would scream really like loudly for 4.5 hours, and I was fine. And I would go and do Billy, which is like, which is also, but I mean, if I did get hoarse at all, I was fine by, 30 minutes, an hour later. I just, but I think.
Yeah. And it's muscle memory too. I mean, I think that it's when I do that now, at first it was riding a bike, you like for right pedal, left pedal, vibrate this, don't do that. If it starts to tickle, stop, because that can really, really get, that when it starts to tickle, that means you're doing something violently wrong because your vocal
also sounds like my wedding night. Wow, that is weird. Very weird. I was
gonna say, what are we talking about?
I never thought I would blush. No, but that's, and then now you do it, and I can't even teach it just because it feels like you just get on a bike and ride, right? Says Queen. But it's like it just you get up and do it, and then it comes out, and it's part of it.
Wow.
I'm excited to do more. I'm excited to do more of it.
It's weird hearing it in my ears. It's like through a Zoom call. I'm like,
oh, really?
There's Fizz. There's Fizz. And
it'll be fun. And, it's fun to also. And you know what? I shouldn't spoil. There's more Fizz.
Yeah.
Well, we know that from the trailer.
Oh yeah, of course.
No, it's so hard to avoid. It's easy to avoid spoil, but it's hard to not talk about like kind of what we're doing now because. Right. I guess minor. I mean, it's already sort of been announced, but I'm trying to downplay it since there's more Fizz and there's more show coming, and especially with all these characters, I think there's an emotional direction that everyone takes that I don't think is expected, and I'm just super excited for what's to come. So very excited, and I'm excited for Fizz's return because. People are already seeing like we put a little super quick last minute trailer together for the rest of the season and there's like the little silhouette shot of him, and I've been seeing people just zoom in on it and be like, he comes back, he comes back, he's back. Is it the robot one? Is it who is it? And I'm like,
well, the robot's got to be based on the robot's got to be based on somebody, right?
Yeah. It's super excited for that lore to unravel because there's quite a story there that we get into. I'm very excited.
I love all of the characters on this show. All of the characters in this show, just in your universe, same with Has-Been, they're also like stylish in their own way. They're also cool looking, They're all well dressed. Even if their clothes are torn, they still look nice.
Oh man, I loved Moxie's coat in the last one in the Cherubs, because when they go in to kill the old man and that long coat that he's wearing.
The disguise.
Yeah,
the disguise was super cute.
I want that coat.
It's hot.
It's hot.
It was super cute. No, I love getting to dress them up in different outfits and stuff. I joke a lot with the crew and just to myself again, it's a laughing at myself moment, is I love bow ties. I have to fight myself to not give a character a bow tie. But Moxie was the one that I let have a bow tie. But like, if it was up to me, like Blitz would have a bow tie, Fizz would have a bow tie, everyone would have a bow tie. I don't know what it is. It just ties a design together really in a really like nice way to me. But I literally have caught it because in Has Been, like 4 characters have bow ties. So I was like, okay, I can't do bow ties for everybody in Hell of a Boss. It just won't. No, not this many people wear a bow tie on their regular day to day. So I had to figure out like other like unique little outfit choices for them all.
Doctor Who wears a bow tie.
Yeah. Bill Nye.
They're classy.
Nye?
Yes, they're very classy and they're very appealing to me as an outfit tie. So but that is something that I've had to like force myself. I'm like, no, you can't give this character a bow tie. You just can't. It's too many.
Yeah.
But I love doing their different outfits. And sometimes there's an excuse for one. I'm like, all right, they can wear one in the scene. It's fine. They're all at like a show or something, or an opera. And we give them like special outfits for that sort of thing. But I love getting to design different outfits for the characters. It's a nice shake-up. When we get to do that.
I even remember when you showed me, I want to say it was like one of the first times we met, if not the first time, you showed me the designs for the characters, and then you're like, and here's their outfits in this episode, and here's like, it was like the outfits were just as early on decided as their concept, which is, I thought, funny.
Well, we have to try to figure things out. Like, fun animation fact, the sooner you have your designs figured out, the better, because every single aspect of production kind of relies on that. And that's something I'm trying to even get better at, because something we do because of how kind of ongoing and spread out the show's production is. We have to be very flexible when it comes to every aspect of production. So, we're boarding more episodes now. And there's like part of me that's like, oh man, it would be kind of cool to like give the characters like a different design in this, or like, let's say, let's do a different hairstyle or a different outfit. And then I'm like, crap, because the board artists are already starting with their base design. So to change that in animation, it would be on a whole nother person's plate. It'd be changing the board to the new design would be the animator's job. Whereas if the board artist already had the design, they'd be drawing that from the start and it'd be less work. Yeah. And so some of those little last minute corrections, like some of them we can do, but if it's like, let's say, for example, it's like, I want to change Millie's hairstyle in a new episode. Like she has a different hairstyle. If I didn't have that hairstyle already designed and given to the board artist who's boarding the scene or the episode, they'd be working to the original design. And that way, and then all these drawings are technically incorrect. Like they're in the wrong model. And so, so sometimes I'll be like, man, this is a good opportunity to kind of shake things up and have the characters wear something different. But then I look at the board that's already halfway through, and I go, oh, do I want to make my animators do that? And it's not even just making my animators do that. It's kind of making myself do that, because I go over a lot of the drawings, like to help the animators. I will go in myself and correct the model or expression or push it or do things like that where I correct them. Like we're doing an episode right now in season 1 that I did that exact thing where I had a last second character design change, and we'd already had all these key drawings done in animation to the old design. And so I had to go, give me all these keys. I will put him on model. I will put the character on the model. And that was my fault. So I definitely did that to myself. But it was one of those things where it's like, I think the scene is stronger having this different design. So it was a worth it task, but it's one of those things where, to any artist watching, any aspiring animators and creators, definitely have your characters designed and figured out as soon as possible, so that like every other aspect, especially if you have a team of people working, is it's less work for them, less work for you to have your final character design figured out before boarding starts. So fun little animation.
Can I come in real quick just to say this, Viv? I'm sorry. I have a dog that needs to pee, and he's texting me at this point. So I don't know how long this was supposed to go, but I have to go walk him. Otherwise, I'm going to have a dog exploding. So I'm going to take my chance to say like, and which would be fun animated, but I just want to say thank you. I'm going to take off, and I cannot wait to do this again with you guys. This has like been so much fun, and I could stay for hours, and I'm going to stay for hours at midnight tonight. 9 p.m.
Alex?
Yeah, it's not. What am I or when am I? When 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, midnight if you're on the East Coast, so Sunday morning, I guess. And I will be signing. If anyone knows me of anything I've ever done, I set out to do just an hour and a half, and then I will see you all at around 7 in the morning, I'm sure. So, but to the people I just met, in person today, because how wild is that? We did all this in quarantine. I cannot wait to see you in person. Drinks on me for sure. And I love all of you very much, and I wish the best for all of you and yours. And I cannot wait to see what is next. So thanks for having me a part of this.
Alex.
Absolutely.
Hooray!
Thank you so much for being here. Thank
My
you so much
absolute
for
pleasure.
everything.
I could stay for another couple hours, except I would have a dead Kevin on my hands. My dog's name is Kevin.
No, yes, absolutely.
Take it easy, you guys. Be well.
Have a
Alex.
wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Oh man. Yes, and anyone who's wanting to get a signature from Alex, we will have. I will put some links in the description of this video, but also you can go to his Streamly store and buy a print, and you can get it signed. And like you said, it'll be at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, midnight Eastern Standard Time. So, yay! I'm very bad at numbers and dates and times, but that is what it was. Amazing. I feel like I've been doing so much talking. I apologize for that. Also, I am a chatterbox when it comes to everything. That's kind of
We love it.
Love it.
But I would love. Let me see if I have any more fun questions. Oh, this is a good one. So what's it like? And this is for everybody, but let's start with Bryce. What's it like voicing for something so adult, like an adult comedy like this? Is it kind of different from doing something more like broad appeal, or like what's it like being in a show that's as raunchy as this?
Well, I mean, the secret is it's really fun because, I think I'm not worried that anything I say is going to be, over the line. Like even just you were referencing that improv we did. Like I just knew that I didn't have to bring like an outside eye into my imagination and have it, censor me just before I went down a specific path. Like it's comforting to know that you're just free to try anything. That said, like, I don't know, I'm a father. I've done stuff, that is meant for kids of younger ages. So I have a sort of, I don't know, I guess people know me from certain projects and not from others. But I think that's good. I think as artists, we want to be a part of many things, and we can't take care of everybody all the time. And so I've just been, careful to say like, Mom, I don't think grandmother, my grandmother who just turned 100 years old. I'm like, I don't think that this one, we can show her the pictures. But it might just be a little too much. But I love it, and as I said, I think it's freeing, and I think like part of the reason it's so popular is because we, at least in my experience in the States, like we don't use swear words in our media as much as we use them in real life, and like to hear like characters that speak exactly the same fucking way that my friends and I speak. Like it feels more authentic to me actually, and so it actually feels a lot less like acting and a lot more like just being the way we are in real life. So I don't know, I love it, and I've said it, I love it.
Yeah, it's that's something that I really enjoyed with writing the script, because I know Brandon, when we write, or at least the way I write it the way we talk. Yeah, so that's why there's so many curses.
I was say Vivian, I will admittedly, on behalf of Vivian, say she has much more of a mouth on her than she's been given off. She swears just as much as I do. I'm a sailor, and when we have writing sessions, we just talk. But the thing is, and it's, I don't know, Vivian, how your parents were when you were growing up, but my parents, my whole family just swore like it was just like part of the vocabulary. It wasn't always like an emphasis of something negative or, you know, whatever. It was just always like, oh, just take out the fucking trash, pick up all this shit. What is it, you know? And so I just always talked like that. And this show has been a breath of fresh air because I've always been pretty removed from the animation world. And I've always kind of assumed that there was never really a big place for me in it because, and again, I'm very sheltered when it comes to animation. I just didn't think that like humor, like language, you know, just inappropriate adult humor would be as well received as it has been. So it's been a very welcoming experience, feeling like, oh wow, this whole other crowd. You know, I feel like I'm almost given another career in a way because there's a whole other audience that I didn't feel like I would resonate with at all. And you took a risk with me thinking like, well, let me throw you into this project and see what happens. And I just brought the only thing I knew I was good at into it. And it's cool seeing like an animation. I told you before, it's like several different genres. It feels a lot like, there's elements that feel like South Parky, and there's elements that feel like something you would see, you know, from the 90s, like kind of Invader Zim sort of vibes. You know, there's elements of like, just sort of goth, you know, punk rock. It just so it hits from so many, you know, some parts even feel like an anime in the way that the humor and the sound effects come across. So it's a cool hybrid that doesn't feel convoluted. It feels like it's all supposed to belong together. And I'm happy that there's a place in this world for adult humor to exist. And like to what Bryce was saying, yeah, a lot of us swear a lot casually, don't even think about it, you know? And it's cool to see an animated character swear where it's not like the butt of the joke. They just happen to drop an F-bomb in the sentence because that's how they talk in hell, like, you know? So
yeah. I think because it's one of those things where it's a mixed bag. Because yeah, on one hand, it's like naturally, I feel like I just curse a lot. I'm able to kind of control it a little bit, but it always finds its way out. Like I always get worried, especially even in like, you know, meetings and stuff. It's like, oh, I probably shouldn't curse, but it always, then they'll curse and I'll go, okay, I can. Yay, good. The floodgates open. The funny thing for me was that I didn't curse most of my life. And then I moved to New York and it completely changed. When I was at SVA, I don't know what happened. I just had a huge like awakening out of like the shelteredness that I was before. And I just dove in. I think part of it definitely was falling in love with adult humor as well, because I didn't watch any adult, like I didn't watch, you know, Simpsons, South Park, any of those. And then I watched South Park for the first time and my world opened up and I went, oh my gosh, like this is different. Like, and then I went down the, you know, the rabbit hole of all these this adult animation rabbit hole. And I stuck there and I really like this world. And that's why I've always wanted to contribute to it. And yeah, it's also, I just think cursing's funny. Like sometimes just cursing can be funny in itself, like the way somebody says something or the way it comes out, especially that gravitated me towards your content because you just have the funniest way of saying curse words. Like well, it's just such a unique inflection.
I was gonna say, you have the funniest way of censoring them. Because it's funny, because I think it's also funny when they, in some parts, that like I love that there's still parts of the show, especially with Stolas, that were, you know, it's left to the imagination. He could be saying whatever he's saying. I wonder what the other language dubs put in the gaps of Stolas's lines. Like, what did they say? Jelly sandwiches, or what do they? You know, like,
I wonder too, because a lot of people, like fans, have dubbed the series, and I always hear that they change lines a little bit to make the translation better. And I always like wonder what their lines are that they change, like, you know, what they change it to. It's so interesting.
What's that?
Oh no, nothing.
If I hear a dub and they sound a little too much like me, then yeah, Luna and I are going to join forces and find their address. But Erica and I, sorry. No, I love some of the dubs. I watch them. I don't know what they're saying a lot of the times, but it's fun. There's a few. I sent you, Vivian. There was a Spanish dub of of Loopy. See, like
Yeah, like he goes, see. It's so cute.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love the dubs. They're really fun.
I touched on it earlier, but I'm very much known for voicing a 14-year-old who is like super sweet on Disney Plus. And I thought it was a little scary. I'm like, ooh, they're gonna hear me say bad words and talk dirty. But yeah, it's really fun. Especially getting to sing that song. I loved it so much. I could have recorded that for hours. Yeah, like I said, it's great. It's great to be like Christina V. Ladybug or Christina V. Vacay to Bone Town.
The two different flavors, the two completely different tones. Projects.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one of my first big jobs was voicing Barbie. I'm like a bunch of the Netflix movies. It's me, like a lot of them, as Barbie,
cool.
and a lot of other things. So I did that for like 2.5 years, and then I started to work in like video games. That's most of my work is in video games, and I kind of had to get over that real quick. The whole like, oh, you don't, no cursing, like blah blah blah. I think I remember the tide started turning when I got on Mortal Kombat, which is like just a gnarly game with they don't pull any punches, literally. So yeah, I was prepared by the time Luna came around. But yeah, it was fun. I remember when I booked Barbie, just going, oh, I'm nothing like Barbie. Oh no, this is gonna be so bad. But like, I feel like the way that my career, I'm so grateful to have been able to fill those little pink shoes for a few years. But I feel like my career has very much gone in the direction that I most enjoy, which is cursing like a sailor and like I do in normal life. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, one of my mainstays is I run a dance academy, and the program that I started running was the 3-year-olds program. And now I'm the associate artistic director of the school. So I had to say, hi guys, tune in to HELLUVA Boss. Don't let your but that's life, right? I remember going on vacation with my parents as a kid. And I know for sure by the time we went to sleep, they were getting drunk. It's just, there's a time and a place for everything, and we figure it out. So it's been awesome. It's been liberating. And, it's nice to be able to say this is NC-17 and keep it pushing. And on that note, I got to go breastfeed my baby. So
I have to hop off too. I'm going to start.
Nice to see you guys. And I'll be streaming.
Does everybody want to tell their times real fast, just so that we can make sure that people know?
I was supposed to be at 2. I didn't know we were going on with the panel. So now I will be signing up today and 1 tomorrow.
What time are you doing, Vivian?
Wonderful.
I'm doing 3 today.
3. Okay. I'm signed up for
Awesome.
3 also, but it may be a little bit later. I'm just telling everyone now that it'll probably be 3:30 or so, because I'm gonna have to drink some tea after all the voicing.
Are you doing Millie Moxie for your signing or just Moxie?
I'm doing some Millie Moxie. We like I said, everyone, we love you
It's
all.
a lot.
And if we could sign every one of yours online, we would. But literally, we would be here for days.
There's a lot. Thank you guys. It's amazing that you're supporting.
But
so cool.
We will do it till we can. I'm going to go through a bunch of my personal ones, and I might do some Millie and Moxies also. But you'll just get to see us go, hi.
I'm signing at 3 today, tomorrow at noon, and Monday at noon as well. And then we'll take it.
So we probably will be, we're going to get everything done. We'll tell you that now. We will all get everything done.
Yeah.
But we more than likely will not be able to do everything over this weekend. So we will be probably going into next week to get them done.
I'll probably be going into not even next week, but the next as well. So
be patient with us. We promise you we are getting to them. But I have to get my prosthetic hand back in order to sign.
Yeah.
Makes me long.
I did about an hour today, and I gotta find some more time. So I'll be doing more in the next week as well. I think we all will.
Yeah.
So to everyone, just keep your eyes peeled on all our socials, and we'll let you know as best we can. But Richard's right. We'll get them all done. You will
totally.
get yours signed.
Yeah.
You will get them done, I promise.
I've got 3 Sharpies in different. This is how seriously I'm taking it.
Incredible.
When I'm done with these Sharpies. What's that?
I've got a silver one.
Oh, shit.
Oh, the fancy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
And I've got a bronze one.
Oh,
And I've got a gold one.
you got the treasure set.
So who's taking off now?
Pens.
We've got Christina already left. Oh no.
Bye, Christina.
Yeah, I think-
Christina's amazing.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Bye, Vivian. Thank you so much.
Where are we at, Vivian Medrano?
We are, I think they wanted to go to about 3, so we've got about
Yeah.
15 or
15
so more.
Oh, I
minutes.
wanted to say I was going to sign today, but it's not going to be as much time as I had thought. So I think I'm just going to do tomorrow at 1, and then I'm going to do Tuesday, I believe, at 5, and then hopefully another one on Thursday. So today is not going to happen just because it's not enough time to like make a real dent in it. But yeah.
Absolutely. This is so exciting. I'm so
I think Bryce
I'm
is
so
right. Keep an
thrilled.
eye on our, social.
Sorry.
It's all right. I think Bryce is right. Keep an eye on our social media because we will announce, even though we have scheduled times, things change because of the weekend and everything. So just keep an eye on our. Sorry, Vivian, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like another big huge thank you to the audience for supporting the cast for getting these
embracing
prints.
us.
Like I'm so like it's thrilling for me to see because like I'm actually not, as of right now, I'm not signing anything. I might in the future. It sounds like something fun. I don't have a whole lot of time with the actual production of the show, but it's so exciting and thrilling to see how much the audience has embraced this cast and how much you guys are supporting. Like it means the world to me to see, and it means the world to me that the show can give back to everybody in any way, especially during such a rough time. And I can't thank you guys enough for buying these prints, and I think they're absolutely worth it, and it's so cool.
Yeah, thank you for your generosity, everybody. It's really touching.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna do our best show for you, aren't we, Vivian?
Yes. No, I'm so excited for what's to come. Like I don't even like, again, I'm trying to downplay like the future, not for downplaying reasons, just because, you know, we still have 4 left and
right, because we can't wait to share everything. That's the thing. We're coming back and recording more, and I love where the show goes, so I'm very excited. And I know to everybody who, you know, has liked what we've done so far, you get all of that and more coming up too. So
my favorite stuff in season 1 hasn't even happened yet. So
yeah,
all my favorite moments are still to come. I've seen them 1,000 times. Just the animatics alone are rewatchable as hell. I can't even imagine what the final cut is going to look like. So
Blitz and Moxie and Drag was hysterical.
Yes.
Hysterical. And the way at the end Moxie goes, it's just
the anime. I love that part. The board for that part made me laugh so hard that I was like, okay, this has to be so like this moment. That was one of my favorite moments of the last episode, was the Karen Moxie just going off for a little bit and then getting sprayed with the piss bottle. Which was the last minute addition. I don't know. It was just a spray bottle. And then I was like, what if it just has like a really shittily like drawn on like piss?
Yes.
I don't know. It made it though.
Moxie?
So weird.
I like that it has to be labeled. I like that he wouldn't just fill a bottle with piss. He's like, and you're going to know what it is too. That was great. What was the inspiration for their looks in that scene? Was that a reference?
No, that one wasn't a reference to anything.
Oh,
it was just I wanted Blitz to have one of those massive like drag queen wigs, you know, like the ones that are like so improbably big. I love those. Like they're amazing. So like I just wanted just one of those huge wigs. And then I think it was a kind of tag team because the designer did their whole designs, but then I kind of added to it because I had like ideas. So I gave him like the hoop earrings that come from nowhere because he doesn't have ears, and I gave him like the giant like ball gown. I don't know where, I just was like, I love how weird this combination is. He's gonna have fishnet like leggings like underneath this ball gown with this massive wig and hoop earrings. It was just the most weird.
I love that Moxie, it's like the wig and the nails and everything seeped into his skin, and like he just became this other woman. And, like, it's so funny. Yeah,
I love
Moxie so much.
Yeah, Moxie is fun to work with because he's kind of a theater kid too, so he kind of takes on these roles that he plays. So it's fun to work with him.
Oh, I can't wait for more Moxie stuff. Also with Moxie, all my favorite Moxie moments haven't happened yet, at least in season 1. And it's cool. Oh, I feel so bad for Moxie. He's just been like a rag doll this whole time.
So I have kind of a good landing question for you, Bryce, as well. Like what has been the most like what has been the most fun part about playing Stolas specifically? Like, is it the singing aspect or the fatherly aspect, or like what's been fun?
Yeah, I mean, I think that song really surprised me. I mean, it just when you guys sent me that song, I was like, this is a great song. Like, I just love singing this, and like I sing it. I sing it in the shower. Like, I love that song. And I think it just, like, the whole project just surprised me. I was not expecting it. I was not looking for it. And those are always the best things because, I don't know, you don't have any preconceived notions of what they should be. And that song, I'm glad I didn't think too much about it before we recorded it, because I think if I had, I could have, it would have been harder. But I loved singing him, and I love, I've been trying to figure out, like, where did he come from in my brain? And like, I think he's like a cross between my great grandmother and Mrs. Doubtfire or something. Like, he's so fun to I guess why he's so hard to characterize, because there's no other character that I can come up with that he's similar to. So that's why I feel a certain freedom to, like, nothing I do could be wrong. Like, it just is him. So that you guys gave me that in that first session, and so I don't know what to say other than well, I do know what else to say, and that is the being the father part. Like, that snuck up on me having sort of read the treatment, I think, and seen the pilot and done the audition. Like, none of the father material was in the audition, if I remember correctly. And so
I don't think so.
That sort of snuck up on me in that way. And as I said, I just had a baby, so I was feeling all those feelings double. And my firstborn is a girl, is my daughter, and so I really connected to that as soon as I read it, and once I realized that song was sung to her, and it's a lullaby, and I sing to my daughter every night, suddenly these things you just can't help but feel like, who's pulling these strings, like who's putting these things in our path. So I don't know, I've loved all of it, and I love that he's like filthy. I love that he's so contradictory, that he's got this filthy indiscretion going on, and yet he's also able to be a loving, caring father. Like, that, to me, as Brandon pointed out, that's incredibly human, right? These are actually, there are very human qualities to these characters, that they can live in these contradictions, and we can recognize ourselves in them. you know, not all parents are perfect, and like parents have sex and want it too, you know, like that's all. That feels like and they want it. It feels like it's a really authentic representation of these sort of ideas that we have. Well, a father is this, and you know, someone who is married to a woman only wants this, and like you've really opened the world up by creating this other world where that's not a human world, but that feels like a human world that we can identify with and see ourselves in. And you know, I definitely see myself in Stolas. You know, I love that bath. I want that bath in my house.
I want that bath in my house. Oh my! I think
Yeah.
I think Stolas fan art is my favorite fan art. That I don't know what it is, but the people who are drawing Stolas are just absolutely killing it. I look through that specific tag. That's not even my character. And I look through that.
And his clothes. I want his clothes too.
His character design is so yummy. I remember, like, actually, Vivian, I remember when you invited me to come and see Has Been to the premiere. And HELLUVA was just going to be showing right at the beginning. And I had no idea what I was walking into, but I remember leaving and turning to, I brought Justin Briner, well, my very good friend Justin. He's a wonderful voice actor. And I remember turning to him and just going, God, I thought everything had been done before. I thought everything had just been done to death. And every single character was so new and so fresh. Like, I legitimately, it's an embarrassment of riches. I feel like even if I was just going herp, derp, 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 it would still be a great show. Like, the animation and the character designs are so beautiful that I don't have a lot to do. And that's it. I just don't feel like there's like, it's just like, there's not much you have to do to just make it. The final product's gonna be incredible. I could just fart. And it would be like amazing. Great job, Erica. And I'm like, it's not me.
That's what I've offered. I'm like, Vivian, you want me to fart? You're
Yeah.
Like, on a day when we're zooming, not when I'm here.
That means so much. And I again, like, the testament to the artist, but like, quick shout out to the crew of the show. Like, it would not be what it is without this amazing team of people that I have working on it. And it's been a joy to see it come out. And I know that, like, the everyone making it is so excited over these characters and where they go and their growth. Like, you know, people on the crew feel as emotionally connected to the characters and their relationships as I think the audience does. And I think that's something that's really fun as well. And I will say, like, a quick shout out to you guys making fan art too, because like the fan art for the show is unreal. Like, I literally like saved so much of it just in a folder just called like, I love this. Like, it's just beautiful and supportive. And I try to like I go into the tag every single day to just like things because it's just beautiful. But yeah, I also shout to the background designers and just everyone working on the show, because like, I agree that scene, we knew that Stolas's like reintroduction needed to be really atmospheric, because, you know, his whole character is such a contrast from the Imp crew. And so that whole scene being like this gorgeous, like I think originally the stars kind of moving was like just something I played in After Effects because I was compositing one of the shots and they weren't moving in the background. And I was like, yeah, but what if they're just kind of like floating by? And like, I remember that was like a huge big brain moment where I was like, oh, okay, that makes it like, it gives us this etherealness. And then the amazing score that Jefferson Friedman did of his theme, I listen to it all the time. Like, that score for his theme is gorgeous to listen to. So
like when Stolas is talking and the background.
Yeah, that the score playing behind him is so pretty.
Is that the same? Did you do all this? Because I noticed there's a handful of recurring themes in the
Yes.
background of the show. The same guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
Jefferson Friedman is the score composer for the show, and he's awesome.
He's really good at taking a familiar tune and then like tailoring it to whatever the scene is. Like maybe we'll just hear a sliver of it because then or it'll slow down. We'll hear a slow version of it. And after only 4 episodes in, you start like, oh, this music means we're here. This music, it's really good at creating that.
Yeah, no, it's something kind of cool. And I think most shows do this, but it's something I'm really into. Like I've always wanted it for all of my projects is to give each character a theme. Like that is a song that you associate with them. And something he's done really, which is really cool in the score is that those themes will like blend into each other, So like the Stolas theme will like go into the Blitz theme, and then the Blitz theme will go into like the Luna theme. And each one, it's very subtle, but each one has like a characteristic of the character that's really unique. So that's something I love because I hear it and I just go, oh, or like there's recurring, like he has kind of heist music, which is like they're on the job music is like the same. You'll hear that score come back.
The guitar.
Yeah, kind of like the little riff, like kind of music that's like when they're in the office or when they're on the job. It's like the same kind of music will sprinkle in, and it's really neat. I love little things like that. I can kind of bring out the characters, but it's really cool. It's awesome seeing it come together like every time.
Yeah, it's such a treat for me seeing the different steps. Every time you send me a cut or an image of like, look what this part looks like, just even a rough, it's so inspiring because it's like reassurance that, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be, and all my work is done. I just had, to go in and voice it. Now I just get to sit back and watch it all come together and then get unleashed into the world.
That's one of the reasons I'm so honored that Viv has me voice direct is because I get really attached emotionally to a show, like to the crew, to the creators. It's like because I invest a lot of my own self in my work, and it was always sad to me that I would just go in and voice, and then I'd go to another job and voice. You never actually feel like part of the family because the rest of the crew is there, 24 hours a day, just toiling away. And so I think that's why I'm so happy to be on the crew side of this as well with the VO direction, because I get emotionally attached to shows. I'm not one of these voice actors that can just go like, okay, I got a session after this, I got a session after that, and just I did my voice and now I go home and watch I don't know, I guess Mad Men. But yeah, because it's like you were one of the questions you asked earlier, Viv, was about like swearing in shows and the themes, adult theme and all that. We're artists and we tell stories. And you wouldn't ask Robert De Niro why he did Braveheart and then why he did, Meet the Parents. And so that's how I feel about wherever I find a good story, that's where I want to exist. And, that's what I believe. And I just want to tell those stories. I want to exist in those stories. So if in this story, I swear, I swear. In my primary reality, as I call it, I grew up in a household, raised by two Depression era parents who did not swear at all. And unless my dad was in the garage, because my dad was one of those guys who fixed everything himself. He built cars, and we never paid for any kind of handyman to come in and fix anything. He did everything. But if he was in the garage, every now and then he'd take his wrench and he'd just go, shit. And that was huge. Dad said shit, right? But as a result, I never really swore a lot. I do now, and it always surprises me when people thought, oh my God, Zim said fucking. It's like, yeah. So, but as far as like adult themes versus any themes, it's like, I love Family Guy. I love South Park. I love Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and Butthead is probably one of my favorite all-time animated series whatsoever. And they push the envelope. I mean, South Park just like not only pushes the envelope, they tear the envelope up. So I just love the themes that we deal with here. And you're right. And Brandon's right that it deals more about love than anything. Stolas's love for for his daughter, Brandon's love for Luna, my love for Millie. There's a lot of love in this thing. So right, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
That's like the violence is just the foundation on which the story of different loving relationships is set
all
on
these
top
relationships. Yeah. But it's funny because I kind of now, whenever I talk about the show, I do say that it's a show about relationships, because like really every single one of the characters has a very distinct relationship, and that's kind of part of the arc and part of the story. There's Blitz's relationship with his coworker, or his employees rather, and then Moxie and Millie's relationship with each other, Luna's relationship with Blitz, Luna's relationship with this married couple that she's working with, and then Blitz's relationship with Stolas, and Stolas' relationship with Blitz, and Stolas' relationship with his daughter. It's all relationships. And as we go, too, it's like all these side characters too, like even characters like, Christina isn't here anymore, but like Veronica's relationship with Blitz is also like, that's the core of their dynamic, is that they, are exes, and then, and Tex with Luna, like that's the fun part for me as the kind of creator of this, is I come up with these characters, and then the immediate question is, what is their relationship to Blitz? Because Blitz is the main character. And so that's kind of the crux of the whole thing. And then all the characters that we get introduced to, they all have that like shared link of like a relationship to Blitz. And I think that's where like the heart and the story really comes about. And the core characters, which are Luna, Millie, Moxie, and Stolas and Blitz are definitely the characters that their relationships with each other become the most intense and the most focused on. And it's really fun for me, because I like writing drama. Funny thing about me and Brandon is like, Brandon, you specialize in comedy and you're so good at it and it's so effortless. I don't. I specialize in drama and tragedy and romance. Just like all the feelsy stuff is what I like to and feel like I'm best at writing. So it was kind of a cool off the deep end kind of experience to write comedy with you.
It was cool, especially the episodes that were really like half and half. It's like we really fit in the gaps that the other, it's like you really, when it comes to the more dramatic moments, they just shine because of something that you don't even think about. You just write it in there, like this is how it's going to look. And then like for comedy moments, I feel like I can spread my wings a little bit. And the scripts, it's always, a lot of the times, even I can't tell where one of us started and the other one stopped, in terms of which scenes, who wrote which lines or whatnot. So I'm glad that it was very synonymous at first. It's just always, and every time you mention like, and I was thinking about this, it's like, oh yeah, of course it's going to happen. It's never like, I don't know, maybe it's always like, we're on the same page in terms of where a character needs to go and what they deserve and how they get it or how they don't get it. And
All righty, Rudies.
Well,
it looks like it is 3. Yeah.
5.
So
I'm just gonna say, as I say, I did to yet that I'm going to be signing at 4 p.m. now at Richard Horvitz VO on Instagram. I'll do some duo prints with Blitz and Millie, and I'll do some that are just my prints. I'll do my best, and like I said, I will send out as many shout outs as I can. But thank you everyone for your generosity. I'll see you in an hour.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. And then does everybody else want to, so Bryce, you don't have a new time just yet.
I don't, but I imagine I'll do some throughout the rest of next week. Probably I'm on the East Coast, so mine will be in the probably afternoon on the West Coast. The later side of the day, because I'm working during the week as well.
Great.
Awesome. Well, I will leave. Go for it, Brandon.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I don't know yet, but maybe follow my socials all in. I think Monday I'm gonna try and aim for. By the way, if there's anything sparkling on my face, it's not snot. I put my hand in some glitter, and I touched myself. So this whole thing, I'm like, oh God, they think those are boogers and things. So it just split it.
If you tell me that's what came out after you touched yourself, then I'm really worried.
You know, if you haven't seen my butthole, don't assume it doesn't have glitter. Well, yeah. So I think I'm gonna aim for Monday. I don't know what, but I'll announce it on my socials and everything.
Vivian, Brandon, thank you so much for creating an amazing show.
Yeah, thank you. Seriously.
Yeah, likewise.
Such an
Vivian.
honor.
Thanks
Thank
to
you
all
so
our
much. Thank you
viewers.
guys. Thank you guys so much for
Alright.
watching. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you
This has been
guys.
great. Have a
So
good